Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game, and today, Wave 10's Regent Flagship. Regent's Flagship, there we go. This was in my top 10, 15 ships for a long time. I love the size of the ship. I love the tender ability. 5 attack dice. One of 8, meh. But more so it was Klingon ship, an Egvar class with battle stations built in. 3 crew slots, a weapon, a tech slot. 32 points felt reasonable, but mostly it's this named ability. Instead of making a normal attack with your primary weapon, you may fire in any direction up to 2 enemy ships at range 1, with 4 attack dice against each ship. Now, that's rare that you're going to get to fire at 2 ships at range 1. But even if you only get to fire at 1 ship at range 1, 360, that is 5 dice, because you do get the range bonus. And for this ship to only have a primary of 90, you're giving yourself 360 fire at really no drawback other than losing 1 die. And just something about Regent's Flagship, it doesn't maneuver great. All the turns are red. It caps out at a 5 straight. I wish this ship was on a large base. The 2x2, the same kind you get on the Zindi weapon, the Borg Tactical Cube. It really screams to be a ship that should be on a medium base. That's an idea from X-Wing, but it's a base that instead of being 1x1, like all the small bases, or 2x2, it's a 1.5 by 1.5. And I think this would be a great ship like this, the Scimitar. There's a few others that would go there. But, it's a great named ability. And you get the Fed action bar, and it's hard to argue with it. Generic doesn't really have a point. I never much cared for it. It's too bulky. You don't get the abilities. It can't cloak. It can't do a lot of things you want out of a Klingon ship. Battle stations is nice, but you're flying it like a tank. If Mirror ever gets really good torpedoes, like a version of the Fed torpedoes, or if you wanted to run Fed torpedoes on this, it wouldn't be bad. Because 6 dice, 90-90 with battle stations, it's reasonable to me that you could make this work. And 7 hull is enough to keep you alive. So, to me, it's at least a ship to consider. It's a nice generic, but it is expensive. And this is one that needs to be repriced. I think if we go into Spuds here, we can see that the Negvar Regents is down at 31 as opposed to 32, and then the generics at 28. It's not a huge discount, but it's a little something. But that speaks to the power of 7 hull durability. Captain Worf is an action targeted friendly ship at range 1 to 2 with a hull value of 3 or less. The target ship immediately makes 1 free attack with its primary weapon against an enemy ship in its forward firing arc. Place an Ox power token beside the target ship. I find value in this version of Worf. I like him much more as a captain. Sorry, as an admiral than I do as a captain. I'm getting ahead of myself. But there is some value for him to be a captain. You have a dedicated ship to get the action out. You're doing this at skill 3, so you're going to activate a ship. You're putting the Ox power beside them. You're able to know when you're making that attack trigger. There's a lot you can work around with. Downside is you have to basically plan for that ship. You have to give it a green maneuver if you want the action. Trade-offs here. Then we get the Intendant, Kira. So 2 points for skill with the talent slot. When a crew upgrade on an enemy ship within range 1 to 2 of your ship performs an action that would affect your ship, you may disable this card to prevent that action from taking effect. If you do this, the enemy ship cannot take another action that round. If the enemy crew upgrade was disabled to perform the action, it remains disabled. If the enemy crew upgrade was discarded to perform the action, disable it instead. Kira has potential. I don't dislike her, but the challenge I have with her is that she can only protect one ship. It's only with crew. I find value in it, but I don't love her. I don't think I've ever run her nor seen her run. And it's mostly down to she's limited in what she protects. And then she's disabled. It's one time. I'm protecting something, sure, that's great. But I typically need a better captain to do it. If she was a crew, she would be so much better. This would be an epic ability on a crew. Just not a captain. Alright, the Admiral Worf. Same text, basically, except any ship can activate the action to target a friendly ship. And that's the trade-off I like. Plus, this card's then taking up the Admiral slot rather than the Captain slot. And if you've watched my Admiral ranking video, this version of Worf was pretty high up there. This is a key to a swarm build. Admiral Worf being able to give a Brel, a Jemadar fighter an extra attack, a Gorn an extra attack, the Mirror Defiant an extra attack. Those are powerful abilities. Extra attacks are amazing. I've ran several fleets using Admiral Worf, and he is one of the strongest abilities in those extra fleets. Yeah, whole value of 3 or less. There's limits there. But there are also some really good ships with a whole value of 3 or less now. So, somebody to consider. Somebody that I think is making a comeback and getting better. Alright, our first talent. I will deal with them myself. During the roll attack dice step, you may discard this card to disable up to 2 of your crew upgrades. If you do so, you get 1 extra attack die for each card that you disabled. So, one time, discard, 5 points. 2 actions later, you'll have your crew back, and you get 2 dice. It has a place if you are really trying to make that large attack. I could see this in a mission where you have a singular goal to destroy an objective, and you have to put dice into it. Great. This isn't an action. It's not dependent on any other action taking place. It has that role. I will say very niche mission playable card here. That's it. Make It So had to get a little bit of errata, so here's the errata version of it. During the activation phase, after you move, you may discard this card and disable 1 of your crew upgrades to perform 1 additional action as a free action. So you're trading, I'm going to be really good this round for not so good later. This works very nicely with photon torpedoes, right? Get your target lock, get your battle station with Make It So. Deal with the consequences later. Is perfect quality with fed torpedoes worth it? I think it might be. I think you got to look at it and say, one time I can guarantee a whole bunch of hits. Yeah, let's do it. I'm not saying that's for every time. I don't think this is an every build card. But I think it's a card we got to look at and say, okay, we can make a fleet better because this exists. I certainly don't think of this. Not a good card in my former estimation. But that's why I do re-reviews. I think Make It So could end up in my builds when I do mirror missions. I think this is a good, decent card where I go, yeah, that's going to have a place. Intendant's orders. During the planning phase, you may disable this card to remove up to 2 disable upgrades from your crew upgrades. See, this is the counterplay to all of it and how you get your crew back. There is combos here. You got to run Admiral Worf to get your talent slot, your second talent slot, because you want like Intendant's orders plus Make It So, and some other crew that's going to disable. But you're going to have it work, and it's relatively cheap to make it happen. I like Intendant's orders. Again, mission playable, but I do think there's some potential here for this card in scenario play. I don't think it's not like hyper competitive good. Don't get me wrong, it's not there. But there's a place. And where there's a place, it could be fun. All right, photon torpedoes. Now these are spending a target lock, disable a card. If you fire from an Egvar class, you get 1 extra dice, so 6 dice. And you can fire this from your forward or rear firing arcs. So these are 6-die torpedoes. They cost 5 points. Or, across faction, take fed torpedoes, get 6 dice, and convert your blanks to battle stations. Yeah, see, Mirror just needs new torpedoes. Cloaking device. You can have a cloak and a sensor echo for a disable, and it costs you 4 points. It only goes on Regents, because it's going to cost +5 for anything else. There's a Mirror faction cloaking device that came on the Prakesh. And, again, it's going to be mission. It's going to be up to you. What do you want? I think it's a bit excessive. However, cloaking device on Regents with battle stations isn't bad. Find a way to keep your cloak, though. Maybe it's the new Romulan card from Alliance 3 where if you destroy a target, you get to keep your cloak token. Maybe. You gotta at least consider it. Tractor beam. For 3 points. Action. Target a ship at range 1. Roll 2 attack dice. For every hit or crit result, place an Ox Power token beside the target ship. This is a card, I think, has a place. Again, in missions where there's already Ox Power tokens going out, but combo with Brunt, combo with Positron Beam, combo with all the things that are giving out Ox Power tokens. Vertron Pulse Trap. You basically control your opponent's maneuvering if they ever want an action. And if they don't, well, then they don't have actions. And that makes you stronger. For what it's worth, I do think this tractor beam is overpriced, but I do think, odds say you should give them 1 Ox Power token. Sometimes you're going to give them 2. Sometimes you're not going to give them any. But I like it. I like the potential here. Then we have Elam Garrick as a crew. While Elam Garrick is assigned to a Mirror Universe ship, add +2 to the captain skill. Always like that. Never a bad thing to have some more captain skill. During the roll attack die step, you may disable your captain card to gain +1 attack die for that attack. And boy, if that's not the most Garrick thing to do, I don't know what is. I like being able to say, Captain, we don't need no captain. Knife. And, hey, we get an extra attack die. It's like the reverse Ben Sisko, mirror Captain Sisko, who, Ben Sisko discards crew for extra attack dice. Garrick says, we'll just disable the captain. Again, I think this is mission specific. I think you have to play the role and know what's going on with it. If you have a useless captain, a Calvin Hudson, a captain that's just there for the skill, this is a good card. But it does speak to the thematicism of Garrick, both Prime Universe and Mirror Universe, mostly Mirror Universe, where he's like, yeah, I'm going to build up the people in charge, and at the same time, I'm scheming to be the people in charge. Mirror Odo. Action, select one of your disabled crew upgrades and perform that upgrade's action as a free action. Then discard that crew card. So you got to pick very carefully. But, again, if you need one last time, it's the end round. It's the make or break time. Or, you're never going to re-enable the crew and use them again. Then Odo. And go, I'm going to need to do that action. And, bye. Odo has a lot of potential. I don't love the combos. I don't love discarding my crew. But I do like the fact that I can get another use out of somebody who would take me 2 rounds to ever use again. Again, mission playable card. And I think that's where this is at. Odo is very mission playable. All right. Barail, Antos, Bajorn. Action, disable this card, target a ship at range 1 to 3. Choose a tech upgrade, roll an attack die. On a hit crit, either discard that tech upgrade or steal it. Your ship must have at least 1 open tech slot to steal it. If the stolen upgrade exceeds your ship's restrictions, discard one of your tech upgrades to open a slot for it. So you have a choice, right? You can say, you don't get that, or I'm stealing it and I'll add it or I'll replace. I like the flexibility here. What I don't like is action disable regardless of the outcome. See, that one hurts. I think if I were to redo this card, I would say it's an action roll a die. On a hit crit, disable this card to do the effects. Because then you're wasting your action to try to steal. You're only ever spending the second action if you were successful. And that's the trade-off. So, outside of that, I like being able to steal tech. I think this is a really cool way to mess with people who are running Romulan cloaking devices like crazy. People, Barail Antos, that's your one of your tickets out. And then Brunt, I've mentioned Brunt, but at the start of the end phase, you may discard this card, target an enemy ship at range 1 to 3, place an Ox power token beside the ship. He's 1 point. He's a cool way to say, yeah, you're in trouble. You don't get a full movement choice if you want an action. I like him. I really do like the effect. And I think if you're running Mirror at all, he's basically a necessity, because that's one of the tricks Mirror has, is messing with Ox power tokens. If you're not, you should at least consider him, because he is a cool way to mess with your fleet. Your opponent's fleet. So, yeah, I like this pack. In Wave 9, we got the ISS Defiant. Wave 10, we got Regent's Flagship. This was a good time for Mirror Universe. They were building up some really cool things, going through the Deep Space Nine stories of the Mirror Universe. It's a shame we never got a Deep Space Nine mirror card. That would have been cool. I would have liked to have seen that. Derek, get on that. But yeah, overall this pack has some pretty cool cards. Has a lot of very good mission cards. things you can build to a theme that don't fit every play, not at all, but fit some, fit a theme, and I like that. These photons are still garbage though, need to be redone. But yeah, there's not a card here, again outside of the photons, that I've boxed and said never again. I keep a lot of cards in a mission specific sort, but and that's where most of this pack lives, because I'm like, I know I will have some use for this pack, these cards at some point when I play missions, and hopefully you're seeing that on These Are the Voyages. So yeah, um, all right, that's it for me. Thank you all for watching. Regent's Flagship, really cool pack. If you see it around and you don't have it, pick it up. I don't think you need more than one. Almost everything in here is unique. Yeah, Worf, all the talents, they're unique. Cloaking device, again, you only need one. Tractor beam, I wouldn't buy a second one just for a tractor beam. So yeah, get yourself one if you don't have one. It's a good ship. So, all right. Until next time, keep brushing up your game. Take care.